You never know.
Yeah.
Hello, 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 and welcome to Real Talk. I'm Rochelle Marie Lawson, and I am known as the Queen of Feeling Fabulous. And we have a really impactful discussion for the show tonight. I am the founder and owner of Blissful Living for You, and I have two fabulous ladies here with me tonight. Of course, my co host. I'm going to let her introduce herself to you, as well as a panelist to help us discuss this very important topic that we're going to be talking about tonight. So I'm going to turn it over to my co-host. But before I do that, I want to say if you like this show, if you like what we bring, please subscribe to the show, share it with everyone you love and care about, and everybody you know, because the more we women can come together and talk about the issues that affect us in today's world, the better it is for us to come together and be able to create change that is more positive for us women. So if you like what you're hearing, please subscribe to the show. Okay, Dr. Kim, please introduce yourself.
Ding! Yes, I am Dr. Kim Brown Barber, better known as Dr. Kim, and welcome back. We missed you, so come on back. Tell somebody else about it because there's good stuff going on here in Real Talk. So I am the CEO for Journey to Becoming, all about the journey and knowing that we're always becoming, right? Constantly becoming our destiny, right? It never ends until we take the last breath. So we should be on it. We are excited to get into this topic. So stay tuned. It's going to be good. It always is. Don't forget, subscribe.
All righty, so there you have it, Dr. Kim. And now, our panelists this evening, I would like for you to introduce yourself, please.
Hello. Good evening, everyone. My name is Angela Watkis Francis. I'm the author of The Power of Marsing and also the founder of Marsing Communications, which is a lifestyle brand that supports, inspires, and motivates individuals in their personal development so they can have better relationships, better marriages, and have a better life.
So there you have it, everyone. We have an esteemed group of ladies tonight, double dipping, as you guys know I do, on Facebook. So if you're on
Yes.
Facebook and you're seeing us right now, please join us and feel free to join the chat about this topic of discussion. So the topic of discussion for tonight is mental health, addiction, and incarceration. Now, there is a growing awareness and concern at the high rates of mentally ill women in our society and inside our jails and prisons. What is the appropriate response to what's happening with us women with regards to mental health, the challenges of raising our children, working, and or committing a crime, and to what degree is society causing mental health challenges to occur in women, and what should be done to assist women with these challenges? And so that's a lot, but I want to just start and break it down a little bit with regards to just the whole mental health and how it has been affecting women. And I'm going to go back right before COVID-19 pandemic and start at 2019 when we had the Me Too movement, where all the women were coming out about the challenges they had and they had to face with regards to what was happening to them. Now, I want to ask you, ladies, with regards to all that we're seeing in society today and the devastation of what COVID-19 pandemic has done for the mental health of our society, particularly us women. What, first of all, have you had any experiences with any women in your life in the last 3 years that have been challenged with mental health issues? And I'll go with you, Angela. Can you share with us um, anything with regards to have you had any women in your life in the last 3 years that have suffered from any mental health challenges? Welcome, Dr. Naila.
Hi,
Hey,
Dr. Naila.
hi.
Yeah. Well, as I start out this,
How's
hi,
everybody?
Dr. Naila. Good. Now, I have had friends, family members who have experienced, and one of the things that I like to clear up, because sometimes we think of mental health and we think of that someone who is, totally psychotic and, being hospitalized or something like that. And the mental health covers such a wide range of things. Has to do with our social or emotional and our psychological well being. And I personally have had friends, family members who have had been struggling with this in so many ways. And it comes from a lot of times, of course, the pandemic has exacerbated it because there's, people have not being able to be as social as they want to be. But also, even what's happening in the world in terms of the shooting, and even before that, people who are already have a full plate with raising kids, societal pressures, educational pressures, work pressures, and trying to balance those in a ways to meet all the expectations that are on us as women in society, right? Because we carry so much of the load. But one of the main things that I find is that a lot of the women who are going through the little subtle mental health issues, they don't really speak up. They don't really speak up. And sometimes they wait until it's way too late when they're really overwhelmed. And we want to encourage women to really start speaking up and finding help. You don't, even if you don't have someone close to you to talk, find the help that you can get.
Okay, so wait, hold up, because we're not, you've gone beyond the
Sorry.
question. So I'm gonna pull
Sorry.
you back. Pull you back. Okay.
Ah, really, really back.
All right. You get so
Really back.
passionate about this.
That's how
So,
people is, right?
so Doctor, I want to welcome Dr. Naila Baraki, my big sis, love her to pieces, to the show. And I want you to jump in on this conversation, Dr. Naila, with regards, because you are an expert in this field. And so, with regards to, and I know you just experienced something, and so my grace to you for even
Mhm.
having the capacity to be with us this evening is fabulous. So, can you
Yes.
share, Dr. Naila, your thoughts with regards to, you know, the last 3 years and the mental health challenges and exacerbations that have been coming out in the women in our society?
Well, first I want to say thank you so much for having me. Yes, it has been rough, and I just, experienced a very traumatic event with the client. But people are coming to understand this last 3 years, mental health is real.
Mhm.
And as Angela was saying, that people just think about the very traumatic things that are happening, but mental health on a mental, emotional, and spiritual level is the body and your spirit hears everything that you're thinking, and it's not separate. And so here we've had so much trauma in the last 3 years that people are either now talking about it, feeling like, okay, I'm not alone, or, you know, what's the use? I just need to be out of here. A lot of people are just choosing to be out of here because they think that it's going to be better if they just leave all this behind, and they won't be troublesome to other people. But I think that there has been, on a lot of levels, a lot of personal growth, a lot of community growth, and people coming together. I think people are even especially even now, so in the workplace, people are even now afraid to go back to work. And along with these shootings and different things, people are afraid to go to the store. Especially a supermarket, which is the most. You are totally distracted if you shop like I do and you're reading labels. Even if somebody walks up on you in the supermarket, you're not frightened or afraid because either someone's asking you about something. You have to try this. Is this good? Or they're telling you this is terrible. Look at all that sodium in there. People are free in the supermarket. People are not thinking about these things. So in the places and in churches where you least suspect it, people are being traumatized. And what with the pandemic and all, it just has compounded everything. But what I can say, that the silver lining of it all, that people are coming together, women's groups are being created, people are learning more about themselves. And I wrote a book, as you know, that fear is a good thing, and people are really learning, like, what is fear? And fear is imminent danger. But a lot of things that we create, that fight or flight syndrome that we create within ourselves, we call it fear, but it's it has been with us, for a long time, and we respond to our thoughts. And the mind body connection is real, and people are learning that, because you can make yourself very ill with your thoughts. So
Right.
there's a lot to be said about. I could talk about this for like hours and hours,
Well,
but
we're gonna come back for sure. We're
yeah,
gonna Dr. Kim, you as an educator in, our higher learning system, Um, what have been your experiences with regards to what you've seen um, with the women that are around your world, so to speak, when it comes to the mental health challenges that are being brought out to the forefront of society today?
Right. So everything that, everybody else has already touched on, all of that, right? All of that. But especially as we can all attest to in education, you're seeing it even more so because that's where a lot of the emphasis is being put on as far as with the media, with their broadcasting, with people broadcasting social media, different other pieces and things that are coming out there. Higher ed, yeah, we have some part of it, but K through 12 is what's really getting hit. And we work with them, of course, because of students getting ready and prepared to come to college. So what we are finding is that, though it's a lot of people in K through 12, and even some of the people that I work with that have to go into the high schools, they fear for their lives. And the women are like, I want to come back to my child at the end of my day. And they're asking and looking for bulletproof backpacks. I never even knew it. I was like, what? That
Wow.
existed. I was looking it up and I was like, oh my gosh, it actually exists. Why are we in a world where a bulletproof backpack exists? Okay. It just really kind of just overwhelms you in a sense of how and why are we here, right? So many other questions. So you have a lot of people that are, some of them are just getting out of education because of that fear. You have some of them that are mentally drained, that are staying in, but are mentally drained. And mental health days are real. Like people, like before, you didn't hear about people. Mental health day wasn't such a thing. But now, in the last 5 years, especially in the last three, mental health day is real, and that's something that is being actually structured. So it's not something that people are just calling it now. It's actually structured where a person is taking a mental health day because they have had so much that going on either in their environment, the classroom, in their lives, compounded with the classroom, whatever, that they have to take mental health days. So you're seeing a lot of it in education.
Wow. Yeah, thank you for sharing. I appreciate that.
They're including
It's,
trauma education now.
yeah, it's really interesting. So I live literally 50 miles from this last episode here in Texas, um, in Uvalde, and the when I think about the children, my heart aches. But when I think about the parents, the moms that drop their kid off at which is supposed to be a safe place for
Mm-hmm,
children, and not being able to come pick up that child,
mm-hmm,
I think about what is going through her mind with regards to all the mental health things that is popping up, and just how society is just reacting to everything so uh, so not right. And so it's
Bang.
a real deal, and it's definitely coming out. Um, I think it's good to have this dialogue because I don't see anybody else doing this, and we definitely don't do it enough, and we need to support our women. So I want to move to the part about addiction. And I'm going to put this out to you three ladies with regards to addiction and women in our society. Um, do you believe that the addiction has become the addiction to um, non-legal pharmaceutical drugs or street drugs or whatever, the addiction to drugs, do you think it's been amplified with regards to what's happened in the last 3 years with regards to women, or do you, or is it something that's always been there, but now it's being more brought onto the forefront, so to speak, because women are now being more of a focus with regards to all kind of issues happening here in America. And I'm gonna give that one to you first, Dr. Naila, to share your thoughts on that.
Oh, I'm so in my head with this because I'm just sitting here rocking because yeah,
right. Right.
it is amplified. And
Mhm.
I just reflecting on like Billie Holiday way back when she
Mm,
films with alcohol and drugs, and it was just like,
mhm, mhm,
they kind of highlighted just a little bit of the struggle, but the singing, and different things. But It has been amplified. It has been increased. Along with the trauma and job loss, uh,
Mm-hmm.
addiction has in small towns where people leave their doors open, they're locked now.
Mm-hmm.
Because women are doing. We said, say Malcolm X, by any means necessary. You know, and they are becoming women are becoming addicted, and not only younger women, but senior women.
Mm-hmm.
There's a high level of addiction because one, they're frightened, they're lonely,
Mm-hmm.
and the people that are available to them are predators, of these women, and so they're getting high and they're becoming dependent. Working women are so stressed out. They're taking it doesn't take. You can get a prescription in 5 minutes from a doctor.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, and it's like well, let me know how this works, and you got a
Right.
prescription. It doesn't take a lot to get it, but when you become addicted, then you have to go out and buy that same drug at street level, at street value, because a doctor can only write so many drug prescriptions before he becomes suspect. He or she becomes suspect. It's it's again, this is something that has been going on, but it has definitely amplified. And now you have more drugs that are available that are prescription drugs than previously known, because we
Right.
have pharmaceutical commercials going on or running all day long.
Right.
You have
Right.
if you have
I agree with you.
yeah, yeah.
Angela, share your thoughts. What are your thoughts with regards to what we're discussing when it
You,
comes to addiction?
and what's leading to this is that because we as individuals, we want to be able to cope with with our daily stresses, right? And so sometimes those are sometimes the easiest way for mothers, females to find this drug. And even if you go to the doctor, usually as Dr. Naila said, we sit at home and they start. It's almost like even if you don't have these symptoms or whether you have them or not, just like talk to your doctor, ask him to even add on another one. And so you go to your doctor, as Dr. Naila says, and eventually it makes you feel good. So it's a coping mechanism for you. And then they cut you off because they can only, as Dr. Naila said, prescribe you so much, and then you go looking out on the street, and the streets they have it, and it works for them, and so they keep doing it, not realizing that their body now craves this and needs this in order to cope, and so it continues on because we need to take care of the children, we need to live our daily life. So anything that can help us to do that, parents and women will turn to that.
And I want to say to anybody watching, and also I know you ladies know this is not just to drugs like pharmaceuticals and heroin and coke and crack and all meth and all of that. This also includes alcohol, because I think a lot of times women don't, they may have a little problem with too little bit too much wine or vodka or whatever, but don't think it's an addiction because um, it's more socially accepted in society to have a drink. When I was growing up, and I know Dr. Naila, when you were growing up, you would watch TV shows like Bewitched and them, and they always had had a cigarette and a cocktail in their hand.
Always the
Afterward,
cocktail.
I mean, and I'm just saying Bewitched, but Mary Tyler Moore, all of those guys, and this is
Mm-hmm.
what we grew up as little girls seeing this. So
You have to
it
ride.
seemed like it became a natural coping mechanism
Mm-hmm.
to have a glass of wine or two or
Mm-hmm.
three or soon as a bottle. You know what I'm saying? So it's not just
Yep,
addiction to drugs, but addiction to alcohol, which is a drug as well.
absolutely.
Okay, I want to running time. I want to tap on the incarceration aspect with regards to now we're discussing mental health issues and addiction to non-natural substances, so to speak. With regards to the incarceration levels affecting women and their families, do you believe that uh, the mental health challenges that are now being brought to the forefront of society with regards to women is uh, adding to the incarceration level that is happening with women, or is it being neglected when it comes to women that are incarcerated that have mental health challenges? We'll start with you, Angela, first.
Yeah. I think it's a combination of both. I think, and And when I think about women being incarcerated, most of the correctional leaders, people who are in charge of these systems, they're male counterparts. And so they don't understand that hormonal changes and levels in women that causes them to, at some point, not being able to control those emotions as well as they can normally. And so that has to be paid attention to in order for them to, when they're in that situation, to help them so it doesn't get worse and exacerbate the situation of them being in there with whatever stresses they're dealing with actually being away from their family and being locked up in there. And in addition to being outside in society too, I think there's these hormones. I mean, women, we run around so much and we don't get time to really sit down and refill our cup and really get in tune with our body and listen to when it's time for us to just pull ourselves, give ourselves a little rest. And sometimes we just keep going, going, going. Sometimes so much is dependent on us and we just keep going. We don't want to fail others. And so it leads us to that point where, as I said, sometimes we're not in tune and realize that we're little by little losing it.
Right, right. Dr. Kim, what are your thoughts?
I was waiting for Dr. Nile, but okay. I was because I'm like, she's the expert. I want to hear from that, right? I know you are, but
So you
everything, no, everything that they're saying, I mean, that it's right. And when you talk about women with incarceration, it impacts the family differently. When you talk, not that we're not taking anything away from her. When a male is incarcerated, yes, it impacts the family too. But when a woman, when that female gets incarcerated, it impacts everything, the child and how they're cared for, and it's just a domino effect. So I think that it's just a whole lot more to consider, because then you have almost the whole family system broken down just with that one thing happening. And I don't think a lot of times, not saying that people haven't done things that need to be incarcerated, but sometimes, when you look at that, sometimes you got to look at the whole thing and see what's the best solution for this. How can we rectify and help this person, but at the same time not break down a family? Because I think because then that becomes a domino effect, because then that child can be a part of that same pipeline, because of what's happening and the impact that they're dealing with the mental capacity of their mother not being there. It's such a domino effect that needs to be looked at, so that it's a better solution for families. And that families is what communities are made of, and communities is what this world is made out of. So I think you got to look at all those pieces.
sure
Okay.
sound like an expert to me, Doctor. Because that was well said, and that's real talk
Oh
right
Oh,
my
love it.
there. That's
Love
real
gosh!
my
Yes
talk.
to you.
Because
love
there
my
are
sis.
over 1 million women in prison.
See, I
A
knew she
lot of
would have it.
goddamn, via alcohol and drugs, and especially with the alcohol in reference to wanting to be with their man or be with their person. So if their
Mm-hmm.
person is drinking, they're drinking with them, and
Mm-hmm.
they get hooked up into things that they can do to please them, and they end up, and if they're on drugs, they end up doing things that are illegal. And if they're drunk, and since the pandemic, let me add, you can get 24-hour delivery, which wasn't happening before the pandemic.
Yes.
You can get so while
That's
your
real.
your kids are asleep,
That's
you can get
real.
drunk at 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning, and they don't even
Man,
know what happened when you wake up with a second
DoorDash.
personality. Hello,
Oh, I
Come
forgot
on.
all about that.
oh,
Yeah.
I did not.
You're right.
Speaking of,
You are so right. Mic drop on that one.
Yeah.
but
You
it is
are
like you
right.
said, it is a problem that's not being dealt with holistically,
Mm-hmm.
and the children are affected. And other countries judge a country by their women.
Yeah.
And we are not getting the resources and things we need on any level. Alcohol, whether it's alcohol or drugs, substance abuse, residential treatment, they have closed down most of the step down programs. If you're in prison and you come out, or if you have an alcohol problem, recovery, they would promise you housing and medical care. But the majority of people that are coming out of prison have a 60-day ID, prison ID, mind you. They do not have housing, and I don't know why they're promising people who are coming out of incarceration housing when people who have been in fires, misled military families don't have housing.
Right.
And in New
Right.
York, which is very old, this is a very old city.
Mm-hmm.
So they build up, not out, and it's not affordable. They're not giving away affordable housing when
Right.
they can, when they're money orientated. Capitalism is real. So you have the problem of them getting the resources, getting a counselor. Most psychiatrists in New York, I have a hard time getting psychiatrists for my clients because most of them don't take insurance. Because as much as they talk about getting help for people with mental health issues, the insurance companies do not want to pay. And a lot of therapists can't work for a lot of these agencies that are going to pay them $25 an hour, and you have a six-figure education, yet you might be still trying to pay back on. It is a very broken system, and it needs to be rebuilt, and we all have to participate in it. It's, yeah.
Wow. Well,
You
we
have to
are.
do a series on this.
I know.
Yeah,
You know
this
what?
is a part two.
I
I
think
see a
for
part
sure.
two.
I see a part two as well, because this is a real deep topic, and it's affecting every. It's not only affecting, say, like my generation, but my kids' generation, and my grandkids' generation, and my great grandkids' generation, and so on. And I think if we don't start addressing it, making more awareness come to it, getting help for women, um, we're going to continue to have struggles in this particular area. And so I want to thank you, ladies, for being a guest on the show tonight. The time goes by so fast, especially when we're talking about really deep topics like that, like this, that affect all of us. So thank you, thank you, thank you. And in 20 seconds, do you have anything you want to say? I'll start with you, Dr. Naila, in 20 seconds. Go.
Oh, it's up already. Next. No, I'm just kidding. Go, Dr. Naila, go.
Yeah, I mean, pray, be aware. When it says justice, it's just us. And so
Right.
we all need to look at each other as a big picture, all of us, all included. So
Love
that's what
it.
I have to say because I would go
I
on.
love it. Just us, and we need to be taking a look at each other and checking on each other.
Right.
Angela,
Yeah.
Quickly,
Angela.
20 seconds. Mental health is well-being. It's a part of our well-being. When we go to the doctor for a physical checkup, our mental health or mental well-being should be a part of that checkup too. And ladies, when we go to the bathroom, even a little time, spend a little time in there and just be quiet with ourselves, quiet with our body, and listen to our body. It usually talks to us. We just have to be quiet enough to hear it and respond to
I
it.
love it. I love it. Okay, so I'm gonna let Dr. Kim Brown Barber.
Close it out. Did she freeze?
Yep.
Did I freeze? Okay, well, we're going to keep moving. She wanted me to close it out, so we're going to close it out. Thank you, everybody, for joining us. We want you to come back. This has been amazing. We're going to have a part two, so you need to subscribe so you know when part two comes. This is going to be fabulous because all these women are talking about expert advice. Because what's next is resources. What resources can you be using? So if you want to know, you have to subscribe so that you can come back to find out about the resources. Back to you, feeling fabulous.
All righty. Well, thank you everyone for watching and joining us in the conversation. If you want to, again, get notification of shows, please subscribe. We will be doing a part two of this particular episode and continuing the dialogue about mental health, addiction, and incarceration and how it's affecting us women in today's society. I'm Rochelle Marie Lawson, the Queen of Feeling Fabulous. You have been watching Real Talk. And until next time, please reach out and check on someone you love and care about. You never know what they may be going through, and you never know that you checking on them, calling them, saying something sweet to them, or just being in their presence could change the course of their life. So take good care and bye for now.